I am not capable of remembering everything. Jared's always like, did you write it down? Do you have a list? Did you put it on your to-do list? And I'm like, looky here. My brain is capable of remembering a lot. However, when
You're
it
like the
comes
server that doesn't write down the meal.
Hi, friend. This is Annette.
This is Jared.
And welcome to our Happy Family podcast.
We're passionate about happy, healthy relationships.
And that only happens with happy, healthy people.
So join us each week as we discuss the ingredients of making your own happy family.
Thanks for joining us. Let's jump in. Hello, friends. Welcome back to another episode of the Happy Family podcast. I am here with my co-host, Jared. How are you today?
Very good.
Are you freezing?
Very cold.
It is. It's not even... Okay, I'm just going to say this. I'm not going to try to compare myself to those that live up north or in Canada. I love Canada, by the way. Anyways, all the cold, I'm not going to compare. But for us here, it'd be cold, y'all. It is not fun.
Yeah.
It has been quite the miserable cold week. So
we're reference, like 11 degrees last night, Fahrenheit.
Well, that wasn't the wind chill. The wind chill was less. Right. I understand some of you are at negative 30. And honestly, my hat goes off to you and you do you. But I am so cold. It's been wild. So just saying hello from cold Georgia. Jared's office is in the barn. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to say it's not that insulated because it's freezing.
I would agree with you.
Anyways, it has been a really cold week. We had some drama last week with pipes breaking and all these things, but today is a new day and will be a new week and it's supposed to be warmer this week. So I am grateful. Today, we're going to talk about goals, which might make some shudder and some excited. I don't know. Mm-hmm. But goal setting in general. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about when we first moved here. We moved here almost 8 years ago, which is kind of crazy. We had lots of plans.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right? Mm-hmm. I would say, however, I don't think we ever defined those plans as clear goals. And hence, this is kind of how our first year went. Correct me if I'm wrong. Okay. Yay! We have moved to a farm. This is wonderful. This is amazing. We have to do all the things. Jared, please build me a chicken coop. Oh no, we're going to get alpacas. I think we need like a few animal shelters in the front pasture. Oh, actually, if we're going to start our greenhouse or a garden, maybe we should put in fruit trees first. Fruit trees. And then, okay, we're going to do in-ground gardening. Oh, the rain washed all the mounds away. Actually, I want a raised bed garden. I was looking on Pinterest.
Pinterest is the devil, y'all.
There's this amazing raised bed garden that I think would be perfect. Oh, wait, hold on. We just got one donkey. I think he's lonely. I think he needs another donkey. So we're actually going to have to get more fencing. And I kid you not, like this continued on where we kind of did not have a very good set of goals or ideas or life plan. Honestly, we were just like winging it, and it creates for more stress, right? It created for more stress. It was just like not one project was fully complete before the next one needed to be complete, and that's all because honestly, we didn't sit down and prioritize and figure out our goals or whatever. So. January is like the time when people talk about goals. I don't think there's like this magical bell that goes off and says, hello, now is a new year. You must, do this. You can start goals.
Just look at Twitter. Everybody's like, here's my resolution.
I know, but I'm saying you can start new goals at any time. But since it is January, the time for goals, we're going to talk about a few things that might be helpful to you that we now are maybe trying to stick more to. I don't know. There's a cool quote that we found. It was from Albert Einstein, and it says, if you want to live a happy life, tie it to a goal, not to people or things. What do you think about that?
Yeah,
it's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Because maybe like people or things can fail, but if you have a goal you're working towards, maybe that.
And it's all the more fun if you have friends who are a part of this goal.
Sure.
Or dream.
Yeah, I don't know. I just thought it was interesting. So the thought is that if you understand your motivation and your reasons for a goal, then hopefully that'll help you have a more fulfilling and purposeful life. So I don't know. I think it's interesting to think, if you identify what inspires you, you provide a compass for your goals. And I think for me, that's really important to always kind of focus on things that inspire me. And I'm not just doing things just because. You have to have a certain motivation or excitement towards what you're wanting to achieve. If not, you're not going to have enough oomph to,
Yeah, that's right.
you know what I mean? To like carry it on. But anyways, you had some data on goals, I think.
I do. I think when this comes out, this data is all the more relevant. It says studies show that 9% of Americans that make resolutions complete them. In fact, research goes on to show 23% of people quit their resolution by the end of the first week of January.
That's
this
pretty
is
wild.
about week 3. And 43% quit by the end of January.
So we're basically at
We're at peak quitting.
We're at peak.
This is where gyms start to lose people.
If you had a health goal for this year, and this is week 3-ish going into 4 of January, hang on, my friends.
Beat the odds.
Don't beat the statistic.
That's
But
right.
that's pretty wild that 9%. That's kind of disheartening, though.
I think because people don't want to let themselves down. But I think a lot of times goals are unrealistic. It's like set a real goal. But we're going to talk more about how that becomes reality.
I feel like it's sad. I don't know. Looking at it, it does feel a little defeated. But anyways,
Sure.
okay. So why... As I've gotten older, let me be transparent. I do not like goals.
Okay.
I've never liked them. I thought they were meh. Now as I've gotten older, and I think I am trying better to keep track of things and do things, I believe goals are good. My thoughts beforehand, when you're just trying to wing it, you can only do so much.
Yeah.
Right? Or keep track of so much. I am not capable of remembering everything. Jared's always like, did you write it down? Do you have a list? Did you put it on your to-do list? And I'm like, looky here. My brain is capable of remembering a lot. However, when
You're
it
like the
comes
server that doesn't write down the meal.
Oh, that is my number one. Side
you.
note. Oh, no.
That's you.
I feel.
That's how I feel.
I'm
like, why wouldn't you write it down? No, I got it. I'm like, boy, you better not forget.
You did not just compare me to my biggest pet peeve. Okay,
Sorry.
just so you know,
Having a marital fight.
He's mentioning that when you go to a restaurant and the server does not write down, because like for example, like minus this, add this on the side.
We are those people.
And they're like, I'm like, just like most of the time, if you didn't write it down, something's not gonna come out right. Like just write it down. It just makes me feel better.
Yeah, if you write it down, I won't be blaming you when it's wrong.
Yeah. Right?
I'll blame someone else.
Yeah, sure. Like you can pride yourself in having good memory when you're taking an order at a restaurant. Personally, for me, not the time. And you literally just said that I am that person because I don't like to do to-do list. I mean,
I'm just comparing the idea. It's the principle.
Okay. As I've gotten older, I will say I do think there are benefits to setting goals. I've written some benefits. Okay. So if you have goals, they provide clarity and focus, which is helpful because if, for example, I don't have specific goals or something, I am like all over the place. So yeah, clarity and focus is nice. Probably helps me not be as stressed.
Let me jump
something.
in. I loved what you said the other day in that seminar.
What?
If you fail to plan, you have planned to fail.
Yeah.
And then someone calls Annette and I out because I made a comment, but at the end of the day, we're just kind of winging it.
I know.
And it was like, yeah, so you really don't set goals or plans. I'm like, no, that wasn't what I was trying to say, but keep going.
I think the main thought to that was in your day-to-day life, you if you have that overarching like big goal, you strive for that, right? Slowly. But each day you have to have some flexibility. We can talk more about that. But I'm winging it a lot of times. Last week, let me tell you, I had every single thought planned for every day. And it did not happen.
Heating systems go down.
Literally,
Pipes
my parents'
burst.
heating system broke.
Parents
the
go in the
pipe
hospital.
burst. My mom's been in the hospital. There was like a baby deer that was stuck and bleeding that we had to untangle from the fence.
Right.
I literally last week I was like,
And I wasn't here for any of it.
Jared was out of town the whole week. It was wild. So yes, you have to be able to roll with the punches and go with the flow to an extent.
Yeah.
But I guess this is true. Like if you have a goal and it can then provide clarity and focus amidst all that, if you kind of have a plan, you maybe hopefully at least know where you're going.
Yeah.
And you're not totally like swimming, drowning, whatever. They can give you direction and purpose and a sense of meaning. So I think direction, purpose, and sense of meaning, I think it's important to have a sense of meaning in our lives, because if not, then it's like, why are you doing stuff?
Well, I think it's like that book, Atomic Habits. Like, goals are kind of what you're about. And the more you can identify, like, well, this is the type of person I am. I'm a person who exercises. And then someone who does that reaches their goals. So anyway.
What are your thoughts on benefits of setting the goals?
I had a couple notes here. One is they motivate us. So like, well, what am I going to do? Oh, well, my goal is that thing. And if I've reverse engineered life off of it, if my goal is that thing in 3 months, I should be doing this thing today. So I think they motivate us.
Yeah.
Another one is you can measure goals, and especially when you're in relation to a goal. Like, how am I doing in relation to this? Like, this is something that means something to me or it matters to me. So I do think that's important.
Well, and I think also it gives you a profound sense of accomplishment when you have achieved a goal. And I think sometimes when we say goals, we make it feel like it has to be this gigantic thing.
Sure.
Or like you said, like a 3-month progress. Or a lot of times we make goals be like physical health or appearance or things like that, where sometimes maybe if you set for yourself smaller, short-term, day-to-day goals or whatnot, there is a very big sense of accomplishment. When I do have to-do lists, I will let you know, I do like checking it off. It makes me feel I have achieved something.
I didn't say you don't do it.
Okay.
I didn't mean to touch a sensitive spot here. Because I know how much that drives you crazy.
No. It's fine.
The waitress not writing the food down. That's what I meant. That drives you crazy.
But self-esteem and confidence in oneself when you have
absolutely
is a benefit, I think, to having it. Whereas if I didn't have the goal at all, I never would have checked that box of like, oh, I did that. I accomplished that. Anyways, I don't know. There's different approaches. I'm sure there's lots of research in all this, so you can take your pick on what works best for you. But there's like one approach called the SMART approach, where I'm going to read through it, where it kind of helps you maybe like break down your goals and figure it out. So be specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. There's like 5 things. So let's start with S.
Hold on. Before you go through this, I feel like one that might have been, we could smell it, smart, would have been realistic. I think so many people I've heard set goals, it's like, that's not realistic.
Sure.
What are you talking about? I have a goal, dude.
But
it's like, what are you saying?
Like something that's completely unrealistic?
Okay, I'll give you an example.
Like what?
I'm going to make $1 million this year. Oh, okay.
For some that could be realistic.
Hold on. We're 3 weeks into January. How's it going? I don't even know. Nothing yet. It's like,
right,
okay.
Sure.
Then you didn't think through this.
But that's why I was saying.
And you're going to be utterly disappointed.
Well, that's why I was saying sometimes we make too big, like something that's, like maybe unattainable. Or start with things that are measurable and probably achievable so that you can have a boost of that confidence and self-esteem to then maybe tackle a larger, longer term goal or whatever.
Right. Okay. Smart. Read through them again, just so.
Okay. Something. Okay. So this is to ensure your goals are not mere wishes that you have, but action plans. So you want to do something that is specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. So I think you have some personal thoughts on a goal for you.
Okay. So I went to this event that Annette is going to in a few weeks from now.
What?
And so it was like a personal development type thing, I'd call it. And so one of the takeaways for me was I have this problem where I doubt a lot more than is reasonable. I have this, like, the critical inner voice discussion. Mine is this the best use of your time? And so I can have that when I'm playing with my little girl. I can have that when I'm on a date with you. I could have that speaking in front of an audience. I could have it on the Zoom call. Anything I'm doing in my whole life, there's nowhere where I'm not asking, is this the best use of your time? And so it constantly makes you feel like this isn't the best use of your time. Nothing's the best use of my time. What should I be doing? So anyway, through this, I came to the realization that's a problem. What would be the remedy to that? So the goal was, I got to be more intentional. Okay, well, that's fantasy if you don't do something with it. So mine was trying to go through these things. It was basically, I'm going to be more intentional. What does intentional look like? Intentional for me is, I'm going to put on a piece of paper what the ideal day, week, month, year looks like, get some feedback from you and others that I respect, and say, is this the best use of my time based on my goals I'm trying to achieve in life? And getting some feedback. I've started to realize you do that, and then you have something to cross-check. Anytime you're feeling, is this best use? Yeah, because I went through this. I got some counsel I like and respect. And yes, this is the best use of my time. So for me, that was a goal that originated with some exercises and then started to figure out, yeah, I got to make my time used as efficiently as possible. Not that it wasn't before, but I think now you can eliminate that doubt by doing an exercise.
Well, you have more of a defined, like the thought of where it says specific and measurable, where you have it written down so you know, like, okay, this is what I'm doing.
That's right.
This is how my time, where before it was probably making you feel,
I think it is. I don't know.
yeah, like a little more like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Where you've taken the time to sit. And I mean, I think for all of this, the whole thought, where it being realistic and attainable. And then I liked where it says relevant, where you align your goals with your values and long-term vision. I think it's so important to, your values are what drives your life, right? If you don't have a set of values, then maybe that would be a first step, I would say, to find what your values are before you make a goal of, I want to do this or accomplish this. You should know what your underlying, there's another word and I can't think of it, like your moral compass. That's something like your moral compass. You kind of have to know what that is, because that will determine.
True.
Like, I'm not going to go off and have my goal be something, I don't know. I was trying to think of something cute, but I can't think of it. You know what I mean? So there's like that thought of having those, like that SMART approach, but then it's like, when you're doing that, what are some practical steps, to those goals to set those goals? Yeah. I can't talk today. I'm cold. Okay. Literally. I'm like, ugh. The first step into practically goal setting is you have to know, like, reflect on your values and know what those are, because if not, you're going to fail. And then create a plan. This is like, I could say different versions of this.
Well, let me jump in. There's one from the Old Testament of the Bible in the book of Habakkuk. I think it's like Habakkuk 2:2. It says, write the vision and make it plain. So basically, anyway, writing a vision
literally write it
very
down.
important,
like
on something.
Literally create a step-by-step plan outlining your vision. I think a lot of times we fail because we don't write it down. So I think, like, I'm trying to think of a simple example. I will give you. This is probably silly, but I will tell you. I am the worst at taking vitamins. Like, the worst. I am 40 years old now. Oh, stop. And, I don't know. Maybe there's vitamins I need. I don't really know. I'm not real good at being in tune with myself. There's a lot of stuff there. I'm working on it. Okay. Jared, on the other hand, I feel like is all about, like, hey, I got to take things to, like, fuel
die.
I got to take things to fuel my body, to, be the healthiest I can be. And I admire that of him. I blame some of it. I think if you're a female and you're listening, you can probably relate. I honestly feel like I had a child and all my focus has gone to the child, and it's hard to think about yourself. It is. As a female, it is hard to prioritize your self-care, your health, all these things. So finally, I did some blood work last year, and let me just see if I need anything. And it showed I was low on some stuff. So anyways, my goal has been, okay, I need to take vitamins or, eat certain things or supplement, whatever, to be the healthiest I can be. Because I think if you're physically healthy, then you're mentally healthy, you're more happy, yada, yada, yada. Okay. So let's say a goal is I'm going to take vitamins.
Okay. Let's do it.
However, what are the steps to do that? Like, that sounds cute, but for me, it took Jared ordering my vitamins and literally saying, these are your vitamins.
I did like the homework for, I found her the best.
So let's say it was me who had done that. You'd have to sit, do homework. What's the best? That's like the first step before you actually go buy something. Like, you got to figure out what you need, right? So that's like an actionable step.
Sure.
What do I need? Then you get the vitamin. What is the best way to ensure I'm going to actually take it every day? Because that's bad. It's a habit that you have to try to do. Okay, so put it in a basket that's like visible so I can actually see it.
Yes.
And then want to take it. Maybe have like coconut water or orange juice or something that makes me want to take the vitamins, because I don't love taking vitamins. All these are steps, which this probably sounds so silly, but it has taken all these like little actionable steps for me to actually start taking vitamins.
No, it's not silly.
I've done it for a month.
Good for you. Your life is transformed.
Don't you feel
I can tell you.
Do you feel I'm like
she's
such
a new woman,
better?
everyone.
I'm like a totally new person because I've taken vitamins. But anyways, just the fact where it says, you break down your goals, create a plan, that kind of thing. And then this we have talked about, I think, other times in terms of like homesteading and all of those things. You dream big, right? But then you start small. What's the thought on that?
I do think, I know I said that people fail of setting goals that are unrealistic, but dreaming big, I think, is very important. Mm-hmm. And if you're not dreaming big, who's going to do it? So yeah, dream big, write this massive vision. One that I'm a big fan of, one that you can't do on your own. You're going to need other people to be a part of. You're going to need divine intervention to make it successful. Mm-hmm. But you got to start small. Then you got to break it up into little baby bite-sized things.
And I think that's how you're most successful, by starting small.
And every day. What does this look like every day on your calendar? And then once you do all those little days in a row, at the end of a month or 3 months or a year, you have this result, meeting your goal.
Hopefully, whatever that goal was. Mm-hmm. What's your thoughts on embracing challenges when they arise, or like adopting a growth mindset?
Oh man, yeah. You got to be adaptable. That was the point of that thing. Like, sometimes we're just winging it.
Yeah.
Like, life happens.
And let's say maybe like whatever happens, you can't go, like a week, like something. I'll tell you, last week, for example, I have had this goal for the last year. I've been pretty good about working out 3 to 4 times a week. And that is something I had not done for years since I had my daughter. And it's become a part of like, hey, this is what I do. I will make time because I feel better. Mm-hmm. Last week, with all the chaos and whatever, I didn't do half as much of what I normally do. But instead of being like, hey, this is terrible, I'm just like, you know what? I got to do what I can do.
Yep.
Like, I was dealing with a whole nother, other set of things. And so, yeah, like, you have to be able to have some flexibility in your goals.
Yeah. And I'll say another thing.
Life in general, honestly, life doesn't ever go.
That's right.
How you plan.
I think it's important that you make goals that are good along the journey, not just, I'm going to do this diet and lose 15 pounds to get in a bathing suit and take pictures.
Yes, it should be like a long term. Yeah.
Well, that's not a life plan. I'm going to be bikini ready 12 months a year.
To be healthy.
To live longer. Everything's better. And, the side product is, I'll already be ready. I don't have to go on weird special diets all the time.
Well, I think the thought is, we had some notes here on like, how do you navigate the pitfalls of goal setting? Because I think a lot of times the discouraging factor is when you don't meet your goals, right? Yep. But if you had a vague goal to begin with, you're probably going to fail.
Yeah. I mean, you won't know if you met it, lost it, who knows?
And you're not going to be motivated.
Yeah, there's nothing to look at to run towards.
Yeah, like, I'm like, I mean, this is kind of my goal. But it's like, that's not motivating. And then lack of planning. Mm-hmm. Like, if you don't plan, how are you going to, that's probably I think that's probably one of my faults. Like, I don't maybe plan enough, or and then, you're just like, oh, well, I didn't plan well, so I didn't If you fail to plan, you plan to fail.
Yeah,
I mean,
and
that's basically it.
I'll say something a lot of us don't plan is margins. That what if I planned into my day? These are the things I want to accomplish, but something crazy is going to happen and sap 2 hours of my life. Can I still get things done? If not, because then you can say, these are today's goals. Tomorrow's going to have those goals. And if you get done fast today, oh, well, you know what? Maybe I'll do some of tomorrow's stuff.
Yeah.
But too often we just load up today and it's like, oh, real life's happening. Your tire went out.
Yeah.
This, that, or the other.
I know for me, a lot of times somebody asked me last week, Jared and I were speaking at an agricultural conference and I talked about homesteading and kind of goals. And somebody asked me, about my day or how I plan my day and certain things. And it's like, it's hard because it is also individual to each person and your home and your life situation. Like I don't think it's like, oh, I'm going to tell you what I do and you're going to apply that perfectly. But it was the thought of, for me, it doesn't work super great to have this, like, I do laundry only on Mondays.
Oh, right.
Because
Sounds good.
it sounds good, but like the minute something happens and I have literally all the baskets of laundry and I can't do any of it, then I'm feeling super stressed because, well, this is my laundry day. Now I couldn't do it, and it's like it's like a big life goal. It's just a daily, weekly home goal. You have to do laundry. But so it's like, no, I'll just do a little every few days so that I can maybe keep up. So if something does happen and I can't do it, then I'm not feeling like, oh dear. Cause let me tell you, I mean, laundry's like anyways. When it piles up and there's like literally it's like this
How's this
gigantic
happening?
of a pile on the bed of clothes. I'm like, what is life right now? Like I'm feeling anyways.
Well,
So
and it's interesting
yeah.
last week. So Annette and I spoke at this event and someone started to share in a Q&A like, well, what about, I'm just trying to figure out how to get it all done. I do this. At the end of it, it's like, you need to do less.
Yeah.
For some of us, that's the answer.
Well, saying
Do less.
no.
Yeah.
Like maybe some
What's
of
that
your
word? I haven't
goals.
learned that in life. No. Okay.
Yeah, Jared does not say no. Well, he does now.
I'm learning.
Jared for years would not say no.
That's right.
And it's like, hey, Jared, can you? Yeah,
Of course I'll do that.
And I think sometimes what's crazy about that, and I think this is helpful advice if you are in a point in life where you're wanting to do a lot of things and you have goals, you have dreams. Sometimes you 100% have to say no to a lot of things to be able to focus on yourself and your health, so that you can be the best version of you to actually do these other things or help people. Because if your cup is half full all
That's
the
right.
time and you're draining from it, example, the soil. If the soil in your garden is not healthy because you keep taking from it, never giving back, never giving nutrients back, you're going to run on empty.
Yeah.
So it's like as you're setting goals and as you're planning, you got to be able to think like, hey, how do I, prioritize and say no
That's right.
to some things? There was one last thing that I thought about, and now I'm looking at it and I can't remember, but something to the thought of, the failure to adapt and what you were saying about margins, that you have to be able to adapt every day.
Got to do
We
it.
kind of talked about that, but
Travel teaches you that lesson. Things are going to happen. You just got to adapt.
yeah, I was thinking about what goals do we have for this year, like general, and I think our goal has been to get like a large, what's the word? There's a better word.
High tunnel.
High tunnel. So a friend of mine has a high tunnel. A lot of people I know actually do, and they grow a lot of food. So one of our goals has been for this year to be able to grow maybe more year round. We have a small greenhouse. It's next to the barn, and it's great for starting seeds. And we've grown a fair amount of like leafy greens and stuff in there, but it's not like to the size where you could really grow stuff. We went to Baker Creek Seeds back in the fall and spoke at their festival, and we got to tour their big like high tunnels and greenhouses. And I was like, oh,
Especially the ones with citrus growing.
they have like a whole orange
That's
grove.
awesome.
It's amazing. So in Missouri, in the cold. So I'm like, well, if they can do that,
We can do it here
we
too.
are in freezing Georgia as we are right now. We can do it here. So anyways, yeah, that's one of our like farm goals for
Yeah.
this year. And see, I mean, there's a fair amount of money involved and logistics and a lot of things. But I think we'll probably sit down and have to break down because that's been like, so far we've said it like, oh, let's do that this year. We have yet to sit down and
We have not followed
break
any
it down.
of our advice.
We've not followed any of our advice. So we're going to sit and do that. But yeah, but I think another thing. So next week on next week's podcast, we're going to talk about goal setting as a couple, which we'll see how that goes. We'll see where that goes. Yeah. Together we are better.
Oh, wow.
Did you like that?
Did you think of that before we started recording? Welcome to the Cheesy Podcast, everyone. This is Annette. That's Jared.
Together we are better.
Yeah.
Relax. All right.
I'm like Andy Reid in that playoff game. My mustache is getting icicles.
I mean, it is so cold.
Wow.
My hands, we're not made for this, folks. We're not. I should have been wearing a whole snowsuit to record this podcast. We are grateful for you listening. I hope some of these thoughts on goal setting have been helpful. If anything, they made maybe us think about more or kind of do a little research and thought on it so that maybe we can improve our personal goal settings. But we hope it was helpful. You can look at the show notes. There's actually going to be, for my Azure Farm newsletter, I'm going to start sending out a newsletter on Tuesdays, just on the podcast, recapping all these points we talked about so that you can actually see them and hopefully have some tangible advice and notes to pull from. So you can look at the show notes for all that info. And yeah, we'll be back next week again on all the couple goals, and we will go from there. So thank you for listening and being a part of our happy family. And until next time.
See you then.
Adios.